Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Brian. So I put out this morning I was going to do a Q&A, film it tonight, and some people submitted some questions. Mainly it's about the rash guard. So uh, in, I believe, March, we did a 1 week pre-sale for the Jiu-Jitsu Cop rash guard. We did really well with it, and because we did really well, there should be doing another one here in either May or June. I need to lock down the details, but as soon as I find out, I'll put it out to you guys. And for folks that don't know, no judges needed. They took a flyer on me, and I mean that because, they supported me from like the very beginning. I had less than 1,000 followers on Instagram, and those are mainly like personal friends that I've had over the years. But they've really helped me grow, and I'm very thankful to Troy for that. And shipping's always 99 cents with them. And man, you can always use my discount code Jiu-Jitsu Cop for 15% off of your order. They have a lot of great stuff. I have a lot of stuff at the house that I bought from them even before I was sponsored by them. So it's a really good company. And hopefully the next time we do the rash guards, long sleeve will be an option. And hopefully we'll make that work. So after, beyond that, because I was like, 75% of the questions are, when are they going to be available again? When are they going to be available again? And hopefully that answer is going to be soon. So one thing that I had a person ask me was about using force in jiu-jitsu, kind of in general. And so I'm always going to tell you, man, refer to your department's use of force policy, right? Because I can teach you a whole bunch of cool things and show videos and stuff, but man, if it violates your use of force SOP or policy or whatever, then it's just going to get you in trouble, right? So always know, and as a cop, you always should know where your use of force policy is, right? And so, I can't say which department I work for, but in my department, chokes aren't really addressed in the use of force policy. But Georgia defines, or they label choking as aggravated assault, right? So for me, the interpretation of everything, choking can be deadly force, right? And I think we all know that, there's cases where people have been choked to death. So, like in my scenario, I would not use a choke unless I felt that deadly force could be possible, or if I'm trying to combat one step below deadly force, right? So, choking would be a rare thing. But a lot of the joint locks and stuff I use, I really don't even use them to, cause an injury. It's more for control, right? So when I get a Kimura on somebody, I don't have to crank it and tear their shoulder for it to be effective. I can use it to control them. We're always trying to control hands and things like that, but I also break their posture with it. Yesterday, there was an incident at work. I didn't have to use force, but, we got the guy, his hands controlled, waiting for him to get handcuffed. And when a gun fell to the ground, all I did was, I just lifted up on his arms that were behind his back, and it just to break his posture so he couldn't, break away, go for the gun or anything like that. So, essentially it's like an armbar type joint lock just to keep his posture broken. Didn't hurt his elbow, didn't hurt him in any way, shape, or form, but I just used it to control his posture so that way he wouldn't be able to do anything else. So make sure, all that said, a lot of the stuff that I show, it's not meant to hurt people. It can for sure, right? But it's meant to control them, right? When you execute a submission on somebody, you control how much pressure you're exerting, right? So you can certainly create braking pressure, and that will, disable, a limb, or could disable a limb if you create braking pressure. But you don't have to use braking pressure to get them to do what you want, right? And so that rolls into another question I got was, well, how does jiu-jitsu work against somebody who's on PCP? So, using jiu-jitsu against somebody that's on PCP, I'll kind of go over this, right? I don't use jiu-jitsu for pain compliance, right? And in somebody that's high on PCP, pain compliance is probably not going to work, right? So what you're using the jiu-jitsu for is to control that person, right? If I keep control over their posture, over their arms, whatever, then they're not going to be able to use them, right? Well, the same can also be true if it's just a knockdown, drag-out brawl of a fight. You're fighting for your life, man, and you use a choke. I believe it was Grandmaster Elio Gracie said that a man can fight with a broken arm, but everybody goes to sleep, right? So if you're talking about a true possible life or death scenario, man, everybody's going to fall asleep if you choke them. It doesn't matter how tough you are, how strong you are, how big you are. Everybody will go night-night. It's happened to me. So if you train for a while and you compete, chances are you've probably gone to sleep once or twice because you just, didn't want to tap, right? Also, if I crank a Kimura and I'm trying to get the guy to stop fighting me and I got a Kimura locked in and, he doesn't stop fighting, if I use braking pressure, I will injure several joints, the elbow joint, the shoulder joint. Also, there's a grip you can use where you're also breaking the wrist as well as the elbow and the shoulder, right? And even if they don't stop fighting because they don't feel the pain from, the breaks, they're not going to be able to use the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, whatever it is that broke, right? So just because they're still fighting doesn't mean they're effectively fighting, right? So that's one thing to consider. Learn how to use these things and really learn how to use them, right? Drill them over and over and over. So that way, not till you just get it right, but until you can't get it wrong, right? There's a lot of things that I do. Sorry about that. There's a lot of things that I do that, I train so much in the gym that it's just second nature. If it happens at work, it's just boom, boom. I don't think about it. It just happens. Kimura is one of them because that's something I've used since I was a white belt, and I've gotten decent at over the years. I mean, the vast majority of my submissions competition have come via Kimura. So, if I have to use one at work, chances are I get the grip before I even think about it. And for me, the Kimura is the best submission in police work because of its ability to get somebody in a handcuffing position, right? And that's the goal. When you're trying to arrest somebody, you're not trying to hurt them or anything else, but you are trying to control them, get them under arrest. And it's a great submission, or a great joint lock for that. I think that's everything that I got. If you guys have any questions, man, never hesitate to reach out to me. You can always email me, jujitsukop@gmail.com. Submit me messages through Instagram, my Instagram page, @jujitsukop, or on my Facebook page. Message me there. I try and reply back as quickly as possible. But never be afraid to reach out, man. Whether it's about jiu-jitsu, whether it's about police work, whether you just need to bend somebody's ear, you just need somebody to listen. I can't promise that I'll be able to have a lengthy conversation with you, but I can promise you that I read every single message that I get. And, if you need me, I will get back to you as quickly as possible, and it'll be that day, more than likely. All right. So I hope everybody's doing well. I have a lot of exciting things coming up this week. Some of them I can't talk about yet. Some I can talk about kind of, so one thing that I'll half mention here is Bernardo Faria, 3-time world champs, coming to my school to do a seminar on Sunday. So maybe we'll see some of it and post it up on here. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. I'm going to finish with this. So one thing that is rarely talked about in police work, or at least since I've started, 13 years ago, is, mental health, right? And check on your people, man. If you're a veteran, check on the rookies. If you're a rookie, check on the veterans, man, because we've all seen some stuff, just some heinous shit if you've been doing this job for, more than 6 months. And, there's one person to this day, every time his department's in the news, I immediately text him, "Hey, are you okay?" Right? And I always check on him. And if he's been involved in something that's especially shitty, I'll check on him for days at a time just because I cared that much about him. We went through the Atlanta Police Academy together years ago. And just check on your people, man. If they're not acting right, they don't want to open up, that's fine, but make sure you're doing your part and letting them know that you're there for them, okay? Whether it's young, old, man, woman, no matter the race, we're all law enforcement, man. So check on your people, right? Because at the end of the day, we talk about everybody goes home. Well, man, what happens when they are home? Make sure they wake up the next day too, okay? All right. Train like your life depends on it, because one day it will.